Hi, everyone. It is your beautiful, fabulous co-host, Trixie Valentine. I feel like I'm giving you the ooh-ah-ah sensation and kind of like that New Year's vibe because I'm surpassing Christmas. I'm absolutely over it. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. It is the best podcast to talk about the drag culture related to leadership, professionalism, and the business side of drag. Glitter on my tips. And as always, I have my favorite co-host with me. She is in the back. She is looking cute. She did her bottom lip for you today. Bring out my favorite, Judy, the co-host of the season, really the personality, Alanya Chest. Hi, Alanya.
I need to start out with addressing what you said in the beginning. You're saying ooh and I'm going, oh.
Got it. So we're not doing Girl, we are less than like 30 seconds starting.
I'm getting ready for your roast. That's all I can say.
You really are. You really are. Actually, we'll do that short plug. I'm super excited because I turned coming up here soon, and I'm excited to have you in the roast. That's January 27th.
How old was that?
It's old enough.
How old was that? I forgot.
No, it was good. I'm turning 30, the 30, the dirty 30. Literally in a month tomorrow. So January 12th is my birthday, but our roast is the 27th.
You share a birthday with my favorite drag queen,
Trixie
Harvey Daniels.
Oh, yes. What do I? I did not know that.
She's really famous. You need to meet her.
Oh, you know what? I should put her on. Maybe if she could, she'll come to my roast. No. She's actually doing really good. She says hi to everyone because she's on current taking a break. For those who don't know, Harvey Daniels is the internationally known sensation Navy drag queen who is currently serving our country and deployed, and they are currently taking a break. Well, they're not taking a break. They are at like a port. I don't really know all the terms in the Navy, so I do apologize for that. I know I'm terrible with it, but so
I feel like you're neglecting to mention that that's also your twin.
Oh, actually. And Harvey Daniels is my twin. Yeah. So we share a birthday. I am older by 2 minutes for anyone that cares to know, anyone that's into the twin thing. I don't mean the twin sex thing. That's disgusting. But I mean like the twin understanding. I know. I actually had to put it out there. Actually, I had someone yesterday ask me if we were dating because they saw a photo of me like in August playing like mini golf together. And I was like, nope, that's just what siblings do, right?
I mean, we could have a little twin kai. I mean, I can't bring mine, but who's our guest tonight?
This just went downhill fast. Anyway, also, you just had a birthday. Happy birthday, Alanya. Alanya, how old did you turn? What was your age?
I'm 25.
20? Only 25.
No, I'm the same age as my twin, and if he's 25, I'm 25.
Yeah, you know what? I feel that. Although I always forget how much younger you are than me, even though I look at you at like, when I say equal on every level, it's just like...
I'm 28. I'm 2 years younger than you.
Okay, see, okay, so I didn't think you were the other girl that I can't mention because I don't want to throw shade. She's not here, but she'll be at my roast. She's around that age, 25. I know. Anyway, let's bring on our special guest today to get this start this conversation and have a beautiful dialogue because I'm super excited to what we are going to mention today. This person is actually not a drag performer. But they are involved in so much different forms of booking, entertaining, professionalism. They have over a decade worth of experience in working within the industry. We need to bring out the one, the only, Ryan Geigier. Hi, Ryan.
Hello. A few points of clarification. I have over 2 decades of experience. And
so old enough and experienced enough to be your daddy.
You know, I tried making you sound younger.
Oh, well, don't, because people are still going to call me daddy. So
I was going to say the age went with the hair.
Well, the hair went like a decade ago. So this could be you in like 2 months, Trixie, and this could be you in 2 years, Alanya. So
I'm going to Turkey and I'm getting a hair transplant. So well done.
I'm very rich.
The genetics are good.
Ryan, please tell everyone who is listening and tuned in and who will watch later who you are, what you do, and anything else that you want to add.
Oh my God, who am I? I'm Ryan Geiger, and I'm a little bit of this and a little bit of that. I do a lot of different things. I do different advocacy work for LGBT causes around the country and the world. As of a couple months ago, I am the director of entertainment for Lancaster Pride, which is where I live. We're going to have a lot of Amish drag queens this year. You can't wait. You think some drag queens smell bad? Just wait until Lancaster Pride. No, I'm only kidding. Controversial statement, and we're only 7 minutes in. But no, I work for a university. I'm an educator. I'm an advocate. And, I believe in using my privilege and positionality in the world to advocate for those who don't have the ability to advocate for themselves and to be a voice for the voiceless.
We love that. Ryan, I will say, related to just all the work you do incredible work around diversity, equity, inclusion, specifically in the global understanding. So I do have to applaud you for that. For anyone who actually doesn't know some of the work you do outside of the scenes, that's not actually posted on social media ever, but I've seen it firsthand. So I applaud you for all the work you do, especially for like international students and study abroad. So anyway, we're going to get into why we're here. So first of all, let me just put it out there. We are a podcast that goes over the tips of tipping as a must, found on Amazon. Alana, did you ever bring your book in so you can do this motion with me?
Do you want me to? It's in my bedroom. I keep it in the
No,
night,
I don't need you to walk too far. You're fine. But anyway, So tipping is a must. 100 tips to run a successful drag show. In today's tip, we are specifically going to be going over is tip number 29, which is, believe it or not, one of Alana's favorites. So it is about professionalism goes a long way. It doesn't matter how good you think you are. If you aren't professional, it's a pass. Being professional is communicating, hitting deadlines, courtesy if you need to cancel, being respectful and mindful of others. And as I'm reading this, there is so much to the drag culture, drag scene, or anytime, honestly, just working within that field. That is just, this might be a 2-time podcast. We'll see on this tip alone. So, however, Ryan, you are our special guest today. So what resonates with you with this tip?
Well, I don't care if you're a drag entertainer or what, but, when you're part of a group project and your reputation is going to be reflected in the work that you do, professionalism and how you compose yourself goes a long way. I am particularly good at finding entertainment that will appeal to a large audience, but I've said this to a lot of people for a long time. I don't care how talented you are for 5 or 10 minutes on a stage. I care about how you act the other 23 hours and 50 minutes of a day. I've seen entertainers that everybody gags over, and then I literally saw them backstage screaming at their own mother. And I'm like, ooh, like, be a little nicer. Or at least if you're going to scream at somebody, do it when there's nobody else who's going to be around to hear you. I mean, we'll talk about this on my next time I'm here on the art of threatening somebody. But tonight we'll just talk about the art of being professional. So, I mean, like, and Trixie, you've participated in some of the fundraisers that I've helped organize around the country. And, in the world of event planning, there's no such thing as planning too far in advance. In the world of event planning, there's no such thing as over communicating. And when somebody isn't responsive, that brings the quality of the entire show down, because the work that, there's more work going into an event than that one entertainer. It's something that the sum is greater than all of its individual parts. And in the me generation that we live in now, people don't understand that when they don't uphold their part of the social contract, that is meeting deadlines, that is being responsive, and then they're inconveniencing everybody else, but they're really being telling of how they probably are on a more regular basis. You see the picture of Jinx Monsoon behind me, and wow, she's an amazing drag queen. I tell people, like, a lot of the RuPaul's Drag Race girls that I've met and interacted with, like, they got on TV because they were lucky. They did not get on TV because they were always fabulous or excellent at what they do. And what makes somebody fabulous and excellent is consistency and constantly challenging themselves and trying to do better and be better than the person that they were yesterday.
I love that.
Is the only place that is a competition is with you. Is that what you were going to say? Are we thinking the same thing?
We're just using this. But yes, we're in the exact same. I mean, you go, girl, you go.
Okay, I'll put this up. Okay, so when it comes to professionalism, that is, you hit the hammer on the nail. Hammer on the head, hammer on the nail. I don't know, I'm gay. I think that is absolutely important because the amount of entertainers that will message me and be like, hey, I really want to do this show. I'm like, I've already dealt with you before. You don't hand things in on time. You just added an unnecessary stress, and this is not my full-time job. This is another full-time job, but it's not my main source of income. And if you are adding to my plate, guess what? I am taking you off of my list. And that's just how it is. I mean, the amount of times that Trixie and I will call each other and go, hey, have you worked with this performer before? And I'll be like, oh, yeah, no. That's an unnecessary headache. Stunning performer. And I will always say, like, stunning performer. I will tell you the exact tea on that performer. I'll be like, yeah, stunning performer. Will not show up on time. Will leave a mess in the dressing room. X, Y, Z, and the third.
All of that. I also understand the idea of consistency, but like, so your reputation is what's in this tip. I remember writing this tip and I was like, it's your reputation. Like, you think your reputation is all about how good you look, how you're on a stage, who's going to book you because they think you can bring in a crowd. But I swear, if I have to be the one that sits at like an hour before the show to download your music because you decided to get it to me late, that's stress that I don't want to have to deal with, because an hour before the show, I want to be out mingling and dealing with all the stuff that I need to do. Or if I'm over here trying to get people booked and you wait 3 days to respond to my message, I'm already moving on. Like, I can't wait for you to decide if I'm good enough for you to respond. And I will give the caveat, people are busy, people have lives, but be transparent in that communication, because there's so much professionalism that happens within these contexts. And anyone that runs a show or anyone that is a director of entertainer or entertainment, whoever is the one dealing with the logistical mindset of this, it really falls down to what level of professionalism. And so, yes, to all of that. I also want to put, I love this, the Willie just put this up here, which was even if you're only 2% of the show, it's on you to give 100% for that 2%. And I can't agree with this 100% more, because it speaks volumes to the quality that you have, how much respect you give to yourself. Hello, Aurora Sterling. I also want to give a quick shout out to all the other people here. Reed, Sarah Besk, I saw Willie. Hello, everyone. And with that as well, though, it's just so, I'm going to just say it's bullshit. It's bullshit if we can't deal with each other professional. Yes, girl.
So I'll jump in real quick, being that you already said their name. My experience with Sarah Bask has always been professional. And that is one of my sisters. That is one of my closest Judies in the world. And even though we are on a talk every single day, I will still get phone calls and text messages to say, hey, I know that this is very last minute of me. I know that, music is due in an hour. Do you think you can give me an extension? Actually, not even an hour. I can't say an hour. She's been like, I know it's due next week and I'm working on it currently. Very transparent and consistent. And when it comes to pageant drag especially, consistency is what wins. Yeah. If you are a pageant queen, if you are considering doing a pageant, consistency is, it doesn't matter how expensive of a package or how talented you are. Consistency is what is going to get you that crown. If there is one person who I know is consistent outside of this room right here, Sarah Best is a perfect example of exactly what you should do. I want a message. I want an email. I want a text message, something that says, hey, communication, I'm telling you right now, this is what's going on. I don't need a full breakdown of exact details of what's going on. Just say, hey, I'm going through something right now. Is it okay? And give me a timeline. Give me a timeline. If you are not going to get it on time, give me a timeline. Go ahead.
No, I definitely agree with you. If we're using Sarah Best as an example, there's plenty of times when I've worked with Sarah Best and all she did was send me a text message. And that communication there was just like, thank you, girl. Like, I'm not even mad. I'm just like, I appreciate the heads up. I appreciate knowing like my mental like process isn't like putting I don't have to put assumptions to anything. I have to do extra work. It's like, okay, she needs this, which means I can do this and like she'll get to it. And so just a perfect example of that. Right. Okay, Alanya, and then we'll make sure Ryan can get to talk.
It tells me what I need to plan for at not the last minute. When you send a message to your show director and you're saying, hey, this is going to be late. Hey, this is what's going on. Like something's going on right now. It's personal. I need a little bit of time. That tells me I need to plan for something else. And I love being able to plan with enough time. If you're doing it the day of, I'm already stressed with the day. You are, like Willie said, you might be 2%. Guess what? Your 2% should not constitute my 100. I cannot divert all of my attention to you. I have I have 98% of everything else to manage.
Yeah.
Yep. I tell my students a lot, procrastination on your end does not mean it's an emergency on my end. And, when I reach out to some entertainers will say to me sometimes, why don't you book me for your drag shows? And I very candidly tell them, because I don't book drag shows. I book fundraisers, and drag queens happen to be the entertainers. And there's a difference. A drag show is meant to entertain an audience. My fundraisers are meant to make money. And boy, do they make money. The least I've ever made at one of my fundraisers is $5,000 in 2 hours. So
and that is why Ryan does not book me for his events.
Well, no, and you don't drive more than 6 minutes from your house. So which is why I regret to inform you that you probably won't be performing at Lancaster Pride. No, I'm only kidding. I'm actually not making any of the booking decisions for Lancaster Pride. I am only facilitating the acquisition of entertainers and getting their information so that a fairly qualified committee of talented individuals can make those decisions. You put your sign up, Trixie.
Oh, it's just to let Alanya know I'm going to speak next. It's literally our signs are just to let us know who doesn't interrupt each other. Yeah. For you, Ryan, you can cut us off. We'll give you that space. But for each other, we've learned we need signals. We're the same person. So you can keep talking. My goal wasn't to cut you off. My goal was to let
no worries.
You.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, like, there's a lot going on. The Lancaster Pride Festival has over 150 vendors. Last year, or I keep on saying last year when it was really only like 5 months ago. This past year, we had 30 drag entertainers, 9 musical acts, and 5 what I call other types of entertainers. You know, the bubble artists, the painters, the magicians, things like that. That's a lot of people to have to keep track of. And, when I'm looking for entertainers, I look for a couple things. When it's a fundraiser, I look at what's the story that entertainer is going to tell, and how does it relate to the cause that I'm raising money for. For Pride, I think it's important to have visibility, because it's about bringing awareness in the community together. Another thing I say to my students is before you can participate, you have to be aware. So I think visibility is important. And will I use my powers of influence to suggest to the entertainment committee why I think a particular act deserves a shot? Yes, I absolutely will. There's nothing wrong with using your power of authority in a good way, especially if it's for advocating a cause that is, something that's underlooked, something that needs to have attention brought to it. But, my point is there's a lot that goes on in the day of the show, leading up to the show. And, I don't have time to babysit. And many people don't know, most of the events that I do, I make no money for myself. In fact, most of them cost me money. And I'm not talking about costing me like $20. They cost me hundreds of dollars of my money, but it's something I'm passionate about, and it's something that I'm willing to put the work into because I think that there's a bigger picture, and I think that there's a need for supporting certain causes. But eventually there does come a time where I will have to say, I'm sorry, I can't work with you anymore, or I'm sorry, you're going to have to wait. I just had an entertainer for Lancaster Pride who missed a second meeting with me. And they didn't even lie. They were just like, oh, I forgot. What can I do to make a message? And what really kind of was telling to me about their professional demeanor is I have asked every entertainer to email me at my Lancaster Pride email address. And entertainers say they want to be treated professionally, but some entertainers want to be treated preferentially, which is a different P word. And I suggest that people look up the difference between those two words because they don't mean the same thing. Another controversial statement, and we're only 23 minutes in. But they were messaging me on Facebook, and I'm like, I don't care what your personal connection is to me. Please respect the process. And people who know me well know that when I ask for a process to be followed, there's a reason for it. And it's not because I'm trying to be regimented and be difficult. It's that this one step will make 20 steps from now a lot easier. And so this entertainer that missed 2 meetings, and then they're messaging me on Facebook, I'm like, I don't have the bandwidth for this. I am sorry. Like, you're going to have to wait until the new year.
So there's so much that you just said that I'm glad we finally got down to what we've all been here for, what we're going to be eating up. So there, while you gave some good examples, I will say the first thing you mentioned about your class of someone else's emergency doesn't make it an actual emergency for someone else with that procrastination. I just have to state that out there because it's definitely one of those things that I sit here and go, because you messed up and waited to the last minute does not mean that should fall back on the person who is needing it. So I'll just put that out there. But while you did bring up Lancaster Pride, I want everyone to know who is watching or may future watch. Like, we love Lancaster Pride. They do great work. There is nothing against them. However, within the work that we do here, there is some important things to say. Like, if you get a call, so we'll just put it down to basics. As drag entertainers or entertainers in general, or people who want to be noticed, people who want the opportunity, if you go out of your way to set that opportunity up and still don't show up, do not go and blame other people because you did not take that opportunity. That falls back on the other person. I think when you didn't mention it in that exact way, I'm just bringing it up of how I heard it. But I think that's such a great and powerful thing to say is our opportunity falls back on us. We have to take that level. That is where professional comes to. It's personal. It's ours. We are the one that handles it. And so I know for me, when I get booked or whatever, anytime I work on other different shows, it really do fall back on the understanding that it's my responsibility to get my W-9s in, to get my invoices in, to get my time in, to get my statements in, to get my music in, to do all those grand things. And when you miss a simple call with no show, no call, no word, it's a slap in the face. It's literally like, oh, so I wasn't worth your time. Mm-hmm. And that's 100% important. Yes, a lot. Yeah.
I always say that drag is a job, even if it is not your job. It is not about just being pretty and going out on that stage and collecting ones. That's not the point. When it comes to the behind the scenes, it is fully a job, and I have to report to someone else. And when they have questions, I have to be able to answer it. They're not going to you. I'm the manager in this situation. They're the district manager in this situation, and you are the employee. In that moment, if something goes wrong and they're asking me and I have no idea, I can't say I don't know. I have to come up with an answer, which means I need you to communicate with me. The venue isn't going to talk to you and be like, hey, why are you late? They're going to come to me and say, why is this person late? Why are we starting late? Why is this a mess? Why is this an issue? And it just takes some communication. That's it. All you have to say is, if you left the house late and you know that it's a 2-hour drive and you're going to show up 15 minutes late, let us know when you leave the house. Say, hey, I just left the house. I'm going to be late. The amount of times that I've told Trixie, I'm like, hey, girl, I am going to be late. Before I even left the house, hey, I'm going to be late. Something happens, and you don't have to give us full details. I don't need a whole breakdown. I don't need a chapter book. I don't need a story. Just say, hey, I had a situation occur, and I would really appreciate your understanding and the fact that I am going to be late. There was traffic. Cool. All right, now I know exactly what I need to say if the venue comes to me and says, hey, why is this person late? It is a job. It is contract work. Your lack of preparation does not constitute my emergency. Love that. Sarah Beth says that all the time. I agree with it wholeheartedly. But when you come to me early with an issue, I am so much more willing to help you figure it out. And I'm not going to be stressed about it.
Yeah.
Like, okay, let's talk about that. Let's have a conversation. Let's figure this out together. Would you like help, or would you like to do this on your own? Whereas when it's last minute, it is no longer in your hands. It's in my hands. You have no say. I have something that I need to get done, and you waited till the last minute. Now I need to fix it, and I need to fix it now.
Mm. Yes, to all of that. One of the things that I saw in our chat, which was by Aurora Sterling, which is, I tell people, it's a rule, right? I tell people that I need their music a week ahead of time, and I have no trouble telling them, they missed a deadline. And when we think about the rules that we do in this level, like the people you have to answer to, the shows that you want to be in, you are answering to their rules. They are the head all be all. So it's very interesting to what you just said, and thinking like, what rules are when someone misses a rule, right? And so you kind of touched on this a little bit, Alanya, when you were like, it's no stress when we have that leniency with transparency in our communication. It's when we no longer, or someone no longer gives us that transparency in our communication, like our rules now just become things. Because for me, I have no problem cutting someone from a show. I have no problem never working with them again. I have no problem giving them a high five saying, oh, they'll be like, can I be in your show? Probably not, at least not this year, maybe next year when you grow a little bit on how to cooperate and manage your time a little bit better. And so that sounds shady, but it's just the truth. If I have to do extra work because of what you just did, why would I ever want to book you again in my life? Why would I ever want to work with you again? Because I also say it doesn't just go to drag entertainers. Do you know how many vendors I've been like, this is a one-time show. This is a one-time show, because I had to, what other people didn't see is not just the drag entertainment. Maybe my DJ that I worked with was terrible. Maybe if I hired a photographer or videographer, they were terrible. They were hard to work with. Maybe the venue owner decided to put all these like weird restrictions on us that I'm not going to go out and tell my cast because that's my responsibility. And now I'm over here like, no, we can't use that. Why? I don't know why, because that's just what I was told. So please just respect that this is what we have to do. And so for either Alanya or Ryan, I kind of want, that's kind of the direction. Like, what do we do when we have these rules put in place and somebody goes against that?
And understand that you are not a part of the conversations that we have with our venues. Every venue is going to be different. Everyone is going to have different rules, what they're okay with, what they're not okay with, and that's their business. It's their venue. They can decide what it is that they want for their venue. My job is to bring a production that fits what it is that they're looking for. So if they say, hey, nothing crazy, like no jumping off of our tables or our countertops, I'm going to tell you, stay off of the furniture. Pretend it's your grandmother's house, stay off of the furniture. Mm-hmm. We do not stand on furniture. And when it comes to the repercussion of you're not following the rules that I've clearly stated for you, my first thought as a show director is I'm going to pull you to the side. And the first time it's going to be a conversation. I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to give you this warning. It's not a huge deal, but moving forward, let's not do this. Okay, I made it very clear that this is something that we cannot do at this venue, and I need you to respect that. It's not going to be me talking down to you. I'm not going to talk to you like you're a child. I'm going to tell you, let's have a conversation about this. And that is your one and only opportunity to rectify that. And chances are, if you do it, I'm going to ask you to apologize to the venue. And I will walk with you to that person and say, okay, so-and-so would like to talk to you really quickly.
I love that.
And it is up to you to apologize because you were given those rules. You were given clear communication that says, do not do this. And you did it. I had the conversation. It's up to you to apologize. I'll apologize in my own time to the venue and say, hey, it's not going to happen again.
Yeah.
And it's up to you. I will walk you over and you will have that conversation with the venue owner to say, hey, I'm really sorry that this happened. It won't happen again. And it's not going to happen again.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I would throw in a point there because the actions of one of the entertainers at your show, people aren't going to be, did you see what so-and-so did? They're going to say, did you see what happened at so-and-so's show? You are the person, you as the host, you as the organization representing the entertainment or whatever, that's the name that is associated. You know, when things go wrong, people will look at the host and be like, how did that happen? Why did they let that happen? And you could have had nothing to do with it. And one thing that I'm really protective of, I will give a lot of people 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 chances. But the minute you start to jeopardize my professional reputation, I start pouring the gasoline and light the match to burn that bridge myself.
Yes. Both of you said the thing. First of all, Alanya, absolutely yes, because I'm definitely the same person to be like, you are not going to make me look bad to the person that built my trust. And you're trying to take that away in the sense of how you act. And I love that you'll walk them aside. And Ryan, I do have to agree. I will burn bridges faster than anyone else if my reputation is on the line because they act a fool. And it's not even burning of bridges. They set that bridge on fire themselves. I'm simply watching it burn with a handful of popcorn saying, you'll never be back. So yeah, Alanya.
And that is my biggest thing is that it takes so long to build a rapport with someone else in general. But when money is involved, it becomes even more difficult.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to the reputation I have with my venues, I'm the one who's having phone calls with them constantly, text message conversations, emails, and I'm saying it's not one or the other. I have their phone number, we're texting, we're calling, and we're emailing. The things that need to be tracked, it's going to be email. The things that are quick, little, hey, is this okay? Text message. Things that need absolutely immediately right now, phone call. I spend so much time building the rapport with these businesses, and I'm not going to jeopardize that for one entertainer who wanted their 2 seconds of fame.
Yeah. Yes. And that actually just brought me up to, I remember I've had venues tell me to not book that person before. I've literally had venues literally tell me straight to my face, not even just venues, just if I've worked with anyone, like, do not, like, can we never bring them back? Can we not bring them back? They don't really give a reasoning, but I already know the reasoning. I've seen it firsthand. I'm like, yeah, you know what? I did my best. Because the other part is if I'm typically going to book someone I know or a friend of mine, and that gets hard because I'm like, you know what? I can't bring them back. They're right. Like, they're right. They messed up. And now it's on my hands. And so I've literally had the situations where someone's lack of professionalism and respect to a venue has caused me to be like, and I honestly am not a person to go out of my way and tell someone, be like, yeah, you're never being booked again, because for that show, they won't be booked again. Maybe a different show, we'll see. But it's not my responsibility to give you the example. I'm gonna just be like, sounds good. Time to move on to the next show. I'll make sure I blacklist this person for this show, unfortunately. It's how it is. Alanya.
And I love that you brought that up because it literally occurred with me on a multitude of occasions. And I have to, as the show director, when the venue says, no, we don't want that person again, I instantaneously go into a panic. I'm like, what happened? I want to know, especially because, as Trixie knows, I will send performers outside of myself. If I cannot be there, I will not be there. But I'm going to send people that I trust who can handle themselves in a professional manner, which goes into the point of professionalism. If you communicate with me clearly and you're telling me everything that I need to know when I need to know it, I trust you. I trust that you're going to represent the brand that I've built, and you're going to represent it well. So when they message me and they go, hey, not these people again, I'm like, shoot, that just hurt my rapport with this group, because now they have this association that they're going to get something that they don't want. And the amount of times that I've been told, why don't we book these people? I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, we can do, like, I'm not going to say no. It's your money. At the same time, that tells me that whatever I sent before wasn't what they were looking for, wasn't what they wanted in terms of professionalism. I know that the people I book are entertaining. That's not my question. That's not my concern, except for Trixie Valentine.
Well, I was gonna say, we've literally felt it's Ryan. We're gonna let you speak in a second, and then I want to get to Sarah Beth's question, which I absolutely love in the chat. But we literally fell in this situation. I literally had to call Alanya. Go, I thought this was your thing. Why is someone calling me? And I love Alanya. I had to sit there and like that. That's where respect comes in the drag community. Because I could have just been like, I'll handle it. I won't tell her. And then now she's looking at me like I'm, a piece of shit. And, she already does. But I mean, like, a lot worse. But and the situation literally came up and we had this full conversation, which I did not know all the details about, but Alanya did. And we had to have that conversation. And it was a professional situation. It was all about professionalism. Had nothing to do with the talent, had nothing to do with the drag, had nothing to do with how extravagant or glamazon it was. It literally came down to professionalism, which is why someone called me. And it wasn't even Alania's professionalism. It was somebody else's professionalism that she put her trust in. And I sat here, I was like, girl, I just got to tell you, like, this is what I was just told.
For an event that I wasn't even at.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And when you have to have that conversation with your performer to say, hey, what happened?
Yeah.
That's not, I hate saying this because I hate it when I hear it, but it's not a good look.
No. So, Ryan, I don't know if there's anything that resonated with you or that you would want to add, because I definitely want to get to Sarah Beth's conversation, but we have a question, but we have enough time. So
Sure. Well, I mean, my only point is I'm in the position where I'm not a drag entertainer, so I can be there to make sure things are happening behind the scenes. And I'm just going to say yet another bold and controversial statement 39 minutes in. Being a drag entertainer does not mean that you have administrative skills to run a drag show.
I'm leaving.
Just because a fish can swim fast does not mean that they're automatically going to be able to climb up a tree, okay? Like, and I get really annoyed when people are like, oh, they do drag, they can do everything. No, they can't. And you want to see how quickly somebody starts breaking down, have to interact with them behind the scenes and see how professional they are. And even like something like, hello, Ryan, not hey, how do I get booked? Like just soft skills, not even soft skills, essential skills. So, but I understand that there's going to be times when you as the show hosts, especially if you're working with like a university, the date is the date and they can't reschedule. One of the caveats that I tend to operate in is if I can't be at the event to help make sure that everything goes well, then that event isn't happening. It's getting rescheduled. I'm not sending anybody in my place. And it's not that I can't trust anybody. It's not that I'm a micromanager. It's that I put so much passion, energy, and effort into this. If we need to change a date, then I'd rather change a date to a date that I'm available.
I want to just add the thing. I just want to highlight. I want to highlight that you don't need to be a drag entertainer to have these skills. But in reverse of what you said, drag people don't automatically gain these skills because they're a drag performer. And I have to highlight 1,000 times that, like, me and Alanya, we know each other not even because of drag. And the reason why we talk about and have the bond we do in this specific professional manner is because we both have the background and skills. And we brought you in today to have that same conversation because I know your background. I've worked with you. You've hired me to do many of the shows and benefits, and it is 110% professional. every step of the way. And so it is always a matter of, do you know the actual skills in logistical coordination, in project management, and administrative assistance and work. And they're like, people are like, oh, I do drag, so I can do this. Can you? Because me and Alanya, and Alanya, you can correct me if I'm wrong. We did not gain these skills. I'm automatically because of drag. Drag has helped us shape and form how to develop these skills related then to putting it into drag. And now that looks a little different, which is why I came out with a book. Alanya's name is in the book. But with that though, it's 110%. Like you, if you want to be the pioneer, if you want to be the show director, if you want to be the show producer, and you have to deal with the professionalism, because I'm a big believer also in the same sense, you have to put in the same amount of work, if not more, that you're asking for other people. And so if I have to show up on time, I'm going to show up an hour earlier because I'm the one running it. So I'm expecting people to be on time. If I'm going to be the one that is responsible for so much of what's going to be asked, I need to put it there. But it wasn't because of drag. It wasn't because of drag. And so I just have to highlight Ryan, you for saying that, because it needs to be said. So many drag people, in my experience, have used to be like, I want to do drag, but I want to run drag shows. And I was like, those don't always go together, and they don't have to. They can, but they don't have to. And so, Alanya, I saw you raise your titties, so glitter on my tips.
I covered the nipple. It's because I moved from my desk to a different desk.
Okay.
And so my professionalism actually came from mentorship of working as an apprentice for a business owner. And so I had to navigate the space of already knowing what it looks like to be a professional and then translating that over to drag. And to me, one of the biggest things that I've always learned is, firstly, Trixie, 110% agree with you. When you said, what I'm expecting of people, I also have to. A reminder that all of the expectations are on us because there are multiple people. You have one person with expectations on you. We have every single performer, every single employee, every single business owner, every single patron. Yeah. So what your expectation of committing to this event, times that by 100, and that's exactly what your show director has to do. Mm-hmm. Because we have to get our music in on time. Maybe not Ryan, but Trixie and I, we're both entertainers. We still have to get our music in. We still have to mingle with the audience just like you do. We still have to get dressed just like you do. We're doing everything that you are doing, and then everything else. Everything, if you have a show director, if you're in a show that all you have to do is show up and perform, send your music, send your headshot, promote, and perform, you have yourself a great show director. They are making sure that almost none of the pressure is on you. You only have to worry about the 4 to 5 minutes that you are on that stage. Yep. We have to worry about the whole 2 to 3 hours, including our 4 to 5 minutes on stage. And if we're hosting, it's more than 4 to 5.
Yeah, I will add in, I hear entertainers say that, oh, I don't like working with this person because they don't treat me like a professional. Well, I will be the first to say, I will treat you like a professional, but we're going to use what my definition of professionalism is. And if you can't raise to that level, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to move on.
I love that. I hate to say it. I love that because there's the professionalism isn't because you've done it for 15 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 2 years, 4 years, 6 years, 10 months, 7 months, 2 weeks. Professionalism is the understanding that there is a level of respect and maturity that goes into how you are presenting yourself in the work that you're doing. And one of the things that, like, the basic thing I've told people of what can start your professionalism is through your active communication. So if you need consistent communication, you need consistent communication. If you need effective listening, you need effective listening. And we all have improvements in different places. It's knowing where those improvements are and working on them, but it's also knowing where your strengths are and increasing them. And for me, Ryan, I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah. And speaking of professionalism, part of being professional is, you know, also being responsive. And since we are all very professional here, this is a great segue to answer Sarah Besk's question.
You want me to bring that up? I can bring that up now.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
let's bring up this question. I loved it the minute I saw it. And so, unrelated friendships versus business relationships, where is the divided line?
That is a line that is more, in my world, that is a line that is more distinct than the Berlin Wall. Okay, I don't care how close our friendship is, but if the minute you start messing with my money or my ability to raise money, it goes south like a supersonic jet. Wow, Trixie left because of that. Another controversial statement 47 minutes in. No. No, I mean, it's like I said, there's a reason for putting a show together, and there's a reason for diversity. And statistically, some people may not want to agree with this, but our friends often look a lot like us. Our friend circles don't have as much diversity as we want to think that they have. And if I'm booking my friends, one, it would be a lot of sarcastic people bitching about things a lot. I don't know how much entertainment it would be. But there's a lot that goes into the decision of who is invited to be part of a cast. Lancaster Pride is a little bit different. When I'm doing a fundraiser, I'm doing fundraisers all over the country, and I can't expect people to travel all over the world to be able to do those. So if I'm doing a fundraiser in Virginia, I can't have somebody in Pennsylvania expect to be booked because I don't know that it's necessary that I can pay you for your time to drive 5-6 hours for a show in Virginia. As much as I would love to, it's just not possible. For Pride, I believe in giving a lot of people a shot. Sadly, it baffles me that there's a lot of entertainers in the LGBTQ plus community who, while I have no questions of their artistic choices, and I make no judgment calls about that, they're not always an appropriate entertainer for an all-age, family-friendly Pride event. And you're making it really hard for me to talk, Alanya, so I'm going to let you talk.
Right, it's just a kitty. Keep talking if you're distracted that easily.
Sorry. So, like, I'm trying to put together a diverse lineup. And honestly, it's not about what I find entertaining. My job is to sell seats. So I should be putting together a cast that is going to draw the widest audience possible so that you can sell every one of those seats. And if you find yourself being one of those people that's asking, oh, why doesn't this person book me for my show? Why doesn't this person book me for my show? Go ahead and look in your drag closet. Go ahead and look at some of your skills. Not only how you're acting on the stage, but like think about what your interactions were. And if you have this feeling in your stomach, like, oh, I think that person doesn't like me, or oh, I think that person gets annoyed with me, it's probably true. And then maybe ask them, is it difficult to work with me, or what makes people not want to book me? And you may not like the answer to that, but hearing it is what you might need to hear in order to grow. There's two types of feedback styles. There's positive affirming feedback, and then there's constructive feedback. And I prefer constructive feedback because I know what I'm good at. I know what I'm damn good at. It's the blind spots in my life that I know where I need improvements. So when I want feedback, I want constructive feedback.
Alanya.
Can you pull up Sarah Besk's question one more time?
Absolutely.
So for me, I definitely take more of a... So one of the things that you will constantly hear me say is I do not give constructive criticism. I give constructive feedback. It sounds a little less aggressive on my part. And that's me being mindful of the fact that people, if you say constructive criticism, they're going to automatically go negative. Secondly, when it comes to friendships versus business, if you're my friend, chances are my conversation with you is going to go, this is me talking to you as your boss, not your friend. And I need you to understand that this is me coming from a business perspective, not a friendship. Our friendship is completely separate. And I will make the clear verbal distinction to say, this is me coming to you as your employer. Because guess what? Even if you don't think that you're employed by them, if I am paying you, if the budget is mine, you are my employee. We might be friends, but you are in that moment for that event, my employee. And I need you to understand that when I say I'm coming to you as your boss, not your friend, has nothing to do with our friendship. It has everything to do with the performance of you as an employee. That's the business side.
I absolutely agree with both of you. Ryan, when I say I'm laughing in the understanding there is truth to what you say. Specifically when a lot of people who I deal with a lot of performers who also sometimes will doubt if I like them or not like them or things. And at the end of the day, it has nothing to do if I like you or not. It has everything to do if like the way I ran my show went exactly the way I needed to go. And the reason why I say it that way is because it goes on to what Alanya just said. It has to do with business. Like it is the work that I'm putting in here. If you're thinking like we're friends, we automatically get no. The only person I'll give a prime example to is my drag mother. Outside of drag, we are best Judies in the sense of like that's my mother-daughter type moment. We've grown to have that kiki moment. When it's my show, she gives me the utmost respect to go, honey, you tell me what you need. And that is to me the line of when we realize and go, we can't do this. And I've had times where she's looked at me, depending on what show it is, if we haven't had a regular show in a while together. Anyone who doesn't know, my drag mother is Tequila Daniels. And she's going, what do you need from me? Because there are shows she knows she can't say certain things on the mic. She needs she has told other drag performers who've gone to her and says, why won't she book me? And they go, the venue said they don't want you. The venue said this is what they're looking for. Or they've actually said, like, Trixie has worked with you in the past. How have I've seen this and you haven't? And so some of those conversations, it's all about, like, can you have those conversations? Can you talk about that dialogue? And for me, I can, because to me, I will say in the utmost love and kindness. I'm never intentionally rude or mean. Now, if you text me or anything like that and it comes off that way, it's just because I'm direct. Like if you give me an answer, it's a black and white answer. There's no, and I know me and Alanya, we fall in those categories a lot where it's just like, I didn't mean this come off rude. It's just, this was answering the question. And so many times though, it does fall down to simply just professionalism. It actually has nothing to do with if you're pretty, if you're gorgeous, if you're talented, where you live. Like it has to do with, did this go smoothly for me, or am I now waking up going, I don't want to do this again? Like if that's my answer, then my goal is to find a way out. But to draw a line between friendships and business is actually who gives me the respect to treat me as the employer, as the boss, as the leader. Like if you're not giving me that respect, that lets me know then you don't respect me in the work that I do, and therefore I will never bring you back. Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with seeing you as an equal. We see you as an equal, but our assignment is different than yours. Mm-hmm. Our responsibilities are different than yours. It does not look the same. So while you might be saying, well, we're all performing. No, you're performing, I'm performing. I have a whole slew of responsibilities outside of this, outside of performing. There is nobody holding my hand doing this for me. No one. So when I say that it has nothing to do with, oh, well, why are you in charge? I'm in charge because I'm the person who is working hours on this event outside of just my numbers.
Unpaid.
Unpaid. Guess what? The Facebook promos that you see that are sponsored or paid promotion, 95% of the time that's coming out of my pocket from my actual job that gives me benefits that I work every day. That's coming out of my pocket. So when people go, well, why are you making more? I'm making more because I put in 20 hours into this 2-hour show outside of just my numbers, outside of getting ready, outside of driving to this space.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I've invested my money, I've invested my time, and I've invested the resources that I gathered. It has nothing to do with me not seeing you as an equal. I see you as an equal, but our workload is completely different. The expectations we have, completely different.
Oh, that part. The expectation. Ryan,
I'm
I
being
want to let
reimbursed
you.
for what I put in.
I will give you a minute to answer on anything that we talked about. We have one other question that seems to appear in the chat. I will also give you this shout out to you. That I just have to say, Ryan is also so well dressed. Love the fit.
Thank you so much. I stoned the lapels of this coat earlier today, so just a little something extra for the kids. See me in a slightly different way. But no, I try to balance. How do I want to look good but not steal the spotlight away from my entertainers? And that's a delicate line to act, but nonetheless, I will take the compliment. Thank you so much, Ciara.
Also, yes.
I don't have like a lot to respond because it would just be like reiterating what either you or Lonnie have said, and I'm 100% behind it all the way. The one difference I would say is, developing a fundraiser or a show is very different than looking at entertainment for a Pride festival. And I have learned very quickly in the last couple of months, every decision I make will make somebody happy and will make the next person unhappy. Every decision I make will privilege somebody and disprivilege somebody else. And it's not personal. I'm doing, I'm volunteering in doing this. Every member of the Pride Board is volunteering, and we all have commitments outside of this. But we are all trying the best that we can in good faith, trying to support the community. I'm not the director of entertainment for Lancaster Pride because I'm looking to advance myself personally or professionally in any way. I'm doing it because I think that it's something that I can provide to the community, and I am selective of my time and my skill sets, and I wanted to be able to maximize something that I'm good at in the community where I live.
Ryan, thank you for that. I don't want you to downplay yourself, because as a person you've literally hired, because when we worked together, I didn't treat you like this is my friend Ryan. I got all my deadlines in. I followed everything you told me to do. I did to 110%. And it shows just because I've been hired back, but also other people you've worked with, because when you work, you typically work with other people or groups, and they've seen it. And so the highlight of the level of expectation, I think, is something that you need to highlight for yourself. If you're expecting something out of someone because you're setting the precedence and they can't meet that, that's on them. That's not on you. To me, there's no such thing as a high expectation. There's only of how much do you want the opportunity, and how willing are you able to put that into pieces. Because I know there are shows where I've had to send in my Instagram because they need to see what I look like, what I look like today, not what I'm going to look like on a flyer. They need to know a small clip or video because they need to know, sure, I look good, but can I perform well? They need to have articles of what I've written or done because they need to make sure that I'm at the level of quality. And this is more for when I do speaking gigs, at what they're asking for. And you put that same precedence. And I only know because I've worked with you in it, where you've been like, I need this, this, and this. And it should be a no questions asked. The only question I'm going to ask is, when do you need it and how do you need it? Like, it's the question of like, if I ask you to jump, you either jump or you ask how high, because other than that, that's the only thing that I need to know if I want to be in that opportunity. The only other thing I would say that comes down to a conversation is the negotiation of accommodations in price, because you have to know your worth as an entertainer or just someone being booked as well. So if there's times you're like, this is all I can offer, then that's my choice to say, you know what, I can't do that for you then, unfortunately, because I'm not there. And so that is something I want to highlight in stuff that you've worked on and did.
Mm-hmm. Alon, you go ahead, and then I'm going to respond.
So I love the conversation so far because one of the biggest things when it comes to knowing your self-worth and also knowing is what is the budget? I will tell you right now, because Trixie knows firsthand, I have had almost $1,000 bookings for some of my events where I'm like, yep, here you go. You're gonna get a check in the mail. And it's you can easily make rent. And I can promise you, I give that to the people who are understanding of who I am as a person and they respect me outside of just our friendship. They get me their things on time because guess what? Just because I asked to book you, if you're not following those deadlines, I'll find someone else. I do not care. I will find someone else. And that has nothing to do with how our friendship is. That has to do with me as a business individual. This is a business at the end of the day. It is a job. And guess what? If you don't have to do any of the behind the scenes work, if I'm writing the contracts, I'm the one who's doing all the meetings, and I literally can give you a summarization because Trixie knows firsthand. I'll send a message. I'll say, hey, these are the deadlines. This is what I'm looking for. This is where you're sending everything to, and this is my expectation. And I give you one full message that outlines everything that I'm looking for. And if you can't fulfill that, please let me know. I will find someone who can with the budget that I have. And the people who are the most consistent are the ones like Trixie, like Sarah, like Alize. They're the ones who I'm reaching out to first to say, hey, girl, I have a $700 booking here for you. If you want it, if you're available. And guess what? You're going to get that is when the preferential treatment comes in. Because I know it's going to be easy for me. It's no longer professionalism at that point. It is fully preferential treatment. Why? Because when I call Trixie and I say, hey, I have this, she's like, oh, girl, I got you right now. I'll send my headshot right now. Music, got you right now.
Ryan, I know you want to answer, but I just have to say 100%. Oh, yes, because I've had more than enough times where I'm just like, if Alana's not in the show, I quit. Because Alana makes my life so much easier. Like if my automatically like, oh, this will be so easy. Because I've had shows when I started doing university contracting for these different universities where I bring people in. Alana was one of the first people who witnessed a different person in our chat go, well, why do I need to send you that? Well, I didn't get that on time. Well, even though you told me 6 weeks ago, and then 5 weeks ago, and then 4 weeks ago, and then 2 weeks ago, and then 2 days ago, I still didn't get it in on time with no justification. And I'm sitting here like I can't cut the person because unfortunately the relationship's too personal, but also I was trying to give leniency of the chance out of who needs the money, like who's the I'm trying to show that understanding of like, you really deserve this opportunity. But if you're not, and this is a hard lesson I learned, if you're not giving yourself the opportunity, my first response is gonna be like, you missed that deadline, out, bye, we're done. In these larger type contracts. But Alana, I just like, you are one of the biggest ones because you are the first that I sit here and just do this. Like you made, like when I say you didn't just make my life easier, you also said, girl, I also got you a coffee with this.
And the thing is, you can ask Ryan how difficult it is to get Penn State to pay for things.
Oh, yes.
To people who do not work at Penn State. When I tell you that I was on Zoom calls going, okay, do a screen share. We're going to go through the whole entire registration process. Back when we were in a new system and being like, okay, I already wrote the invoice for you. I will do almost everything to ensure that this is as easy for my performers as possible. And all I need is your respect and communication. That's it. That's all I need. Yep. Be a professional, and I will make it a walk in the park for you.
Yeah.
Yep. I agree wholeheartedly. You know, I've been meeting with a lot of entertainers who are interested in performing with Lancaster Pride for the last 6 weeks. And I found meeting with the entertainers helpful because I'm just getting some FaceTime with entertainers in a different way than I would than when I see them performing or I'm at a venue. And, you know, it's interesting because I want the entertainers to know that if you reach out to me that you're interested in performing, I'm going to give you a response and I'm going to allow you to set up a time to meet with me. And the meeting is not meant to be another hurdle. The meeting is just to get to know you, to have a conversation about changes from what I'm implementing with Lancaster Pride, timelines. It's all about communication. There's a common theme in our questions here, kids. If you haven't realized, it's about communication. But I also want the entertainers to know that I'm approachable. If I'm developing a reputation that people are afraid to contact me or are nervous in contacting me, then I've failed in doing my job as a liaison for Lancaster Pride. I have an email address. It's one of the few organizations I'm part of that has given me an email address. So please respect my wishes and having you email me there. Don't send me an Instagram message because I'm not going to remember to look there. A lot of people think I have resting bitch face. No, it's resting focus face. And so, anyway, so I want people to know that, like, the way you engage in these conversations and reach out to people matters, because it shows your level of commitment and how serious you're going to take it. That first interaction sets a tone for what I can expect from most entertainers. And the entertainers that I have the highest level of respect for are the ones that follow the process and don't expect preferential treatment, even though that they know that they'd probably get it. Alanya also talked about a budget, and I wanted to mention that, knowing your worth is really important. There are Pride festivals out there that may do this, we're going to pay you $50 per song to perform. Pride festivals are not a union, okay? You don't get a flat rate for everything. Not every act is the same. If you've been entertaining in your field for 6 months versus doing it for 6 years, you should have a different pay rate. And every entertainer that I have met with, I've asked what their booking fee is and what is included with that booking fee. I've also asked them if that booking fee is negotiable, because at the end of the day, there's only so many hours in the day and there's only so many dollars that I have in a budget. And as much as I would love to say yes to everybody, between time and money, I'm going to have to start telling people, I'm sorry, no. But if somebody tells me that their booking fee is $50, that's maybe valid. If you've ever seen an episode of Shark Tank, when somebody comes in and they're pitching a company to the sharks, how they value their company is different than how the sharks may value their company. Yeah. The same thing goes with entertainment. I'm going to ask you what your booking fee is, but no, I may put a different value on your particular entertainment than what you have. And it's not meant to be disrespectful. Sometimes it's, you haven't really been performing that long. We don't have the budget to accommodate that. This is what I can offer you. And then it's on you, like what Trixie said earlier, it's on you to decide if you want to accept that gig at that booking fee. And, I would never come back to somebody and say, okay, your booking fee is $150. I'm going to give you $25. I would never be that insulting. I am going to try and be as close to that booking fee as possible. But if your booking fee is a little bit unrealistic for what you bring to the table, I might also have a conversation with you about that as well.
I agree with everything that you're saying, Ryan. And we got into such a great topic. We are basically out of time, though. So it's I knew this conversation could have just kept going for sure. Alanya, I know you already messaged me and said, girl, I got to get the hell off here because I got a hot date. And he is hot. But no, Alanya, I want to give it to you, though. Do you have any last type of comments or anything you want to end with or anything that's resonating with you?
The only thing I can say is maybe we need to have Ryan back again next year.
3 weeks. Got it. That's completely.
Let's see how the roast goes to see if you want me back anywhere.
Yeah, you know what? Let's wait till after the 27th because Ryan is one of the roasters as well, so that'll be exciting. Ryan, do you have any last thoughts? I do want to add one thought to what you just said, which was to end that sort of kind of conversation. And I also think fairness in how we pay, because I don't always like to go off of how long have you been doing drag as my measure of how much I should pay you. I go off of the measure of there's a difference between, and it's a different tip. I'm not going to put what number it is out there because I already know what guest I went on for this. But this came from her mouth, and I absolutely love it. I don't know where she got it either. But it's actually your mother, Alanya. And so there is a difference between mediocrity and magnificent. And so there is an actual qualitative understanding and quantitative understanding to someone's, I don't want to say worth, but what we could provide them. Because I've been at shows where I've gotten paid $1,500 and I gave them a $1,500 performance and more.
Mm-hmm. No, I would also say time that you've been doing your drag or your performance is not the only barometer in which an entertainment director should be measuring, because I know drag entertainers, I know entertainers that have been doing stuff for 10 plus years, and I'm just like, I'm not impressed by that. I know entertainers like Stormy Sky, who just won Miss Gay Maryland America. She's been doing drag for less than 2 years, and she won Miss Gay Maryland. That is amazing. The amount of work that she has put into what she does. She listens, she learns, she knows what she's good at, she takes risks, she asks for advice, and that's the type of stuff that makes people excellent. That's the type of stuff that makes people bookable. That's the type of stuff that everyone should be looking at to do. And like I said, the amount of time that she has been in drag is not that long. And I remember seeing Stormy a year and a half ago when she was coming to Harrisburg Drag Arena and different shows in Pennsylvania. And now that she's Miss Gay Maryland America, I mean, 2 years later, unheard of. But it just goes to show that if you invest the time and the quality into your craft, it pays off in dividends.
Yeah. Well, Ryan, I want to actually answer this question that someone put in the chat a little bit ago, which was Willie. Hopefully Willie's still on. Where is the best place to find Pride opportunities? So you are part of a Pride, yourself, a Pride committee, an organization. I don't know if there's a way you want to talk to them of how things might be running. I know in my experience, I've sat on several Pride. I have a few resources I can send them.
Sure. Well, the first thing is the process is different for every Pride organization. Some Pride organizations may put calls out on social media. We are actually going to be putting a call out on social media through Lancaster Pride's channels. I've been posting about it for about 5 or 6 weeks now, but I'm not friends with everybody on social media. So I'm relying on people to help share posts and things like that. Even if, look me up on Facebook, Willie, look me up on Instagram, send me a message and I will give you my Lancaster Pride email address. I don't know if Trixie, I saw it on a slide somewhere. I don't know if Trixie's actually planning on showing it, but for me personally, gotcha. For me personally, it's send me an email on Lancaster Pride and we'll set up a time to meet and I'll get some information and then it will go to the entertainment committee. But I would say when in doubt, find out who's on the Pride board and send them a message and be like, hey, I'm interested in performing. How do you, what's the process like for me to get booked or how can I apply? Some Pride organizations have an interest form on their website. So, but when in doubt, don't feel like you're bothering somebody on a Pride board if you reach out to them and ask them who to connect with to be booked for entertainment.
Yeah. You can also look at organizations like the Pennsylvania Youth Congress, who typically every year will post all of the prides on their social media of what's happening within the area. You will have to do some searching on how to get a hold of them. I sit on a board myself, the Eastern Pennsylvania Trans Equity Project. So I get a list every year because I'm either tabling for them or I'm helping out with them or involved with them being a board on their board of directors. So There are organizations that have lists because they're coming up every year. So knowing what organizations to reach out to can probably be helpful. But also you can, one of the best ways I learned was typing in pride organizations in Pennsylvania and then seeing what comes up in my area, since there's a lot. I think there's over 30 or 40, maybe 50 now, but it just depends. And that's just in the state of Pennsylvania. If you're looking for outside of Pennsylvania, then same thing. So Ryan, before we give our last final wrap up, what are your last final thoughts on today's topic, which was professionalism goes a long way, tip number 29?
Well, I mean, I think a common theme that we noticed in a lot of what we talked about is it's all about communication, being willing to give communication and receive communication, whether it is positive, negative, constructive, whatever adjective you want to use to describe it. And being willing to have that conversation is critical. We can go on and on and on for hours about what professionalism is, and everybody will have a different style to how they do it. And don't so much worry about getting caught up into, well, how does so-and-so do it? Find a way to be professional, yet be authentic to who you are. And, you know, there's not, people are diverse individuals. There's not a flow chart for when person says this, you respond that way. So, you know, don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Take the risks when you feel you're there. But also know that there may be times when what you want to perform may not be right for the audience, and that can be hard to hear. But it's not an attack on you personally or your art. As the great Amethyst Diamond says, all drag is valid. It's not all bookable. So that is something to take care of. And also remember, we all have our blind spots. We make mistakes too. I sent out a Google form earlier today, and I thought that I shared it correctly, and I didn't. And then it got messed up even more. You know, so here I am, this beautiful symbol of perfection, made a mistake, and I corrected it. You know, so the people will give you a second chance or a third chance, but learn from that first mistake and try not to repeat it again.
Yeah. Thank you, Ryan, for that. I think my last final thought is that professionalism is not perfectionism. They are two completely separate understandings. Professionalism is the excellency in which you hold yourself at. And I learned this because of my PhD program. Because of and I hate to bring it back to my education in that way, but we're held to such a high standard that is what excellence can be. And the standard is not to be perfect. The standard is to constantly be learning, because even after this degree, I'm not going to be a know-it-all. I'm not going to be someone that knows. And I've channeled that level of excellency to everything else in my life. And so I create my own forms of excellency, and then therefore is my professionalism. And there are tangible skills that we put in place for that. So with that, Ryan, I want to thank you. I also want to give a heads up to what's coming up for anyone that's listening. Here are two shows, even though you see 3 flyers. This coming Sunday, I will be at Old Time Charlie's, helping raise money for a fundraiser for the NEPA Rainbow Alliance with the current reigning NEPA Pride Fest Royale, Memphis Divine. I'm super excited to be with her. And then we have my birthday show, Roast, January 27th at Rolling Pines in Berwick. It is a packed cast. There is a packed cast now. For anyone out there who's like, is everyone going twice? No, because I've got multiple people. Everyone is doing a fabulous one show. I think it's important for us to focus on one number. We also have the roast that's happening. Ryan, as you can see, his beautiful face right near my titty. He will be in the show along with a lot of others. We have a show that's coming up that Alanya is the end of the 2023 show. We have a beautiful cast here, as you can see: Sarah Bask, Milkshake, Alzay, I think that's Civil, and I can't personally pick out the other. Oh,
Aurora and Icy Hottie.
Icy Hottie, that's who that is.
Icy Hottie is another one. Doing drag less than 2 years, and wow, has she come a long way too.
Right.
Check her out if you're not following her.
No, she's same. I want to work with her so bad. I've yet to actually work with her, so I want to. But another beautiful cast. How you can find both me and Alanya is through this, or for me, you can go juicywithjake.com. Alanya runs State Queens. And then we have Ryan. This is Ryan's email, Lancaster Pride email, for anyone that was interested in getting involved with Lancaster Pride. I would also recommend collaborating and networking with Ryan, because Ryan's circles don't just end in one organization. They end in they're in many different organizations. And so I'm sure Ryan, while I don't want to speak for you, are willing to collaborate and network with you. But I'll give it to you, Ryan. Tell everyone how they can reach out to and meet you, or anything if someone is trying to actually.
Yeah, sure. So, I'm an educator during the day. I work in global education at Penn State. Lancaster Pride is just one of many passions that I have. But, you can find me on Facebook at Ryan Geigier. I think I'm still rocking my no hate photo that we did earlier this summer. That was fun. But, reach out to me on Facebook. But honestly, reach out to me on Lancaster Pride. I will get back to you, usually within 2 days maximum. And yeah, Jacob was right. A lot my circles do overlap, but they're global in some ways. I'm helping some entertainers get booked overseas for different shows, and it's not about me. It's about how I can leverage my resources and connections to help you get to where you want to be. And if there's something I can do within reason, I certainly will try.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ryan, for being here on Glitter on My Tips. Alanya did have to hop off a little early, or she'd be shimmying with me. Thank you, everyone, who listened, who are constantly following us, who are constantly making this podcast grow a little bit more each time. I can't thank you enough. Please watch, please share. This is definitely a podcast that's not out there, where we talk about the leadership, the professionalism, and the business side of drag.